So we've done our suitcase, we've got handles. We might want to make our passport. So using, decide which bits you're going to use. I might go for the passport first, and I might cut a strip. And cut up there. Journey. So I've got my strip of cardboard. I'm going to fold that in half. And that's going to become my passport. So folding it in half, you might want to a little bit of hand there, again from an older brother or sister or mum or dad who just help you fold it in half. And then it's going to be my passport. Again, I might want to decorate the front of that. So we might want to choose to write down passport. So we'll spell out passport. You can decide on a little logo or something. Maybe you want the world, maybe you want an airplane sign, a boat, whatever you associate with kind of going on a journey. So, or a suitcase, it could be a little suitcase on there. So coming up with your design for your passport, and then decorating that in colour, and then using some of our scrap paper, some of our white paper. We might cut a little sheet that could fit in and go onto there and cover up the fact that it was whatever cereal it began life as. We're going to cover that up so it can start to become our passport now. Now, it's always good to stay kind of tidy and organised when you're doing your artwork, and as people in my class know, I have some very special rules about staying tidy, so it's lovely doing all these things, but we have to make sure we stay tidy and stay safe and use everything carefully, so we don't have any accidents. So if we keep ourselves tidy and safe along the way, then usually we have a fantastic session. Right, I'm going to stick my paper on for my passport. There we go. And I can go inside. Now, I'll leave that with you to kind of work on yourselves, but inside a passport, you usually have a picture of yourself. Usually you can't smile or anything, but I'm going to be different on this one. If you want to smile, that's fantastic, I don't mind. So we usually have a picture of yourself, just a kind of headshot. So we see a little headshot. There's it go, I've done a little picture of me. And you should have your name. You can put your age if you want to. I put my eye colour. Height, so it might be worth you having to go out measuring yourself, see how tall you are at the beginning of your journey, and we'll see how tall you are at the end of your journey. And if you've got some more spare paper, you could stick in some more sheets, because usually when you go on a journey, you get a special stamp at every place you go to, so that might be something you want to add. So seeing how much paper you have, you might want to add some little bits into your paper. So I'll pause there while you get on with your passport, and we'll come back to the next bit. Okay, right, so hopefully you've made your suitcase, you've made your passport. Oh, and then if you wanted to add the little pocket at the front, if you had some spare card, that was just a little pocket that I cut out of cardboard and then stapled on at the sides and a bit of glue at the bottom, and then that your passport can slot in there. Now, as I said, this is not just going to be a suitcase, this is going to be a suitcase sketchbook or scrapbook, whatever you want it to be, that we take on our adventure each week. So in order to do that, we need to pack our suitcase to make it ready to contain all these wonderful ideas and exciting things we're going to do. So on the inside, I would like us to think of all the things we're going to pack. And as you've seen, I packed quite a lot of things today that I thought would be fantastic for my adventure, but what you would pack might be quite different. So I would like you maybe to collect 4 or 5 objects or items of clothes or things you'd like to read, or your favourite snack. You might have a leftover wrapper from Easter, so I found these from our Smarty Easter eggs that some of the children had. You might have something, anything like that, that you would pack in your bag to take on your adventure. So, and if you've got some younger brothers and sisters who maybe might find the next bit a little bit hard because we're going to try and draw some of these things, maybe they could be packing their own suitcase. So if you've got a younger 2-year-old and 3-year-old brother or sister, they might have their own little suitcase that they would like to pack. and then we could send them off on a little mission to see what kind of things they would pack. So what was in this is my son's suitcase. What's he packed? If he was going on an adventure, he's got his shoes. He's got a game to keep him busy in the car or however he's going to get there. Or another game, got a Rubik's Cube. Cuddly toy, very nice. Oh, favourite books. Oh, I do love these books. So we have, yes, You Choose, Spot a Lot of Vehicles, Adventure. That'd be a good one. Not so many vehicles at the minute. Just imagine. Which are the perfect books for our adventure, because we are going to be imagining a lot. So if you want to send any younger brothers and sisters to just pack their own suitcase, and then while they're doing that, you're going to have a go at the next task. So when you've come back with your objects, we're going to have a go at putting them in our suitcase. Now obviously I can't fit that in there at the minute. I've got to make it flatter. I'm going to sketch it and then pack my suitcase that way. So using some of your plain paper, you're going to use your pencil, and we're going to have a go at sketching some of your favourite objects. Now for some of you that are older, you might even have some older brothers and sisters who are year 7, year 8, and they might want to join in, or they might want to help you. So if you think, oh, I don't think I could possibly draw my boot or my bottle, so you say, oh, brother and sister, could you help me? Could you have a go at drawing it for me? So let's have a go. I'm going to start off with my little cow there. So if I was having a go, remember I always say start faintly, because then if you make a mistake you can rub it out easily, and then we won't have to kind of waste paper and things like that. And just take your time, because it's so good to look at things and really take your time to look carefully, because if anything over the past few weeks I and my children have had a chance to stop and listen and just take time, much more than we ever had in the past. And we've listened to the birds when we've been out. I mean, it's been so much more quieter on our walks and things, that you can't help but hear and see things that maybe we wouldn't have noticed if we've been busy in the playground, on the swings and stuff. We wouldn't have noticed so much stuff. So being able to look very, very carefully is really important. And not just artists, because so many people at the minute are looking at things very, very carefully. And if you develop a really good eye for looking, it can help you in so many ways. So the way scientists are looking at things and examining all tests at the minute and trying to look for clues, or the way we go about observing things and how that can help us spot things. And if you don't take the time to look, then sometimes you don't actually spot things that are right in front of you, and you don't enjoy them as much as you could be. So, taking your time, I've sketched out my kind of moo cow. We call him moo cow. He might be a giraffe, but we call him moo cow. And I've just sketched him out in a pencil to begin with. There he is. And then I'm going to start to add colour. Now if you're adding colour, if you've only got felt tips, that's fine. If you've got some colouring crayons, do have a go with the colouring crayons, because sometimes you've got more control getting the different tones, so you can press down harder and lighter, whereas the felt tips, that's not always as easy. I'm going to have a go with my apple as well. So I started colouring in my apple there. I love a Granny Smith apple, my favourite apples. So I'm looking very carefully at where the light's catching it, where it's getting little kind of speckles on it, the colour of the stalk. So taking my time colouring in some of these favourite objects. So I would like at least a toy for each of you. I would like an item of clothing for each of you. I would like a snack for each of you. Which snack would you take? Maybe a healthy one and more of a treat one. See if you can draw both. And then you can choose the last object. So maybe it's a book, your favourite book, maybe it's a toy, maybe you want to fit some Lego in there. So you can have a go at choosing what that last object is. So taking your time. Now I don't expect you to have finished as quickly as this, because I'm just trying to give you an idea of what you could put in your sketchbook. And also if you haven't necessarily don't want to draw all of them, you might have some magazines that you could cut up and take things out. So I found this, which was popped through the post, some hotel chocolate, ooh, very nice. But you might be able to cut out some of the delicious looking chocolate, and that could be your snack in there. I also found a Lego magazine through our post from a few weeks ago. So there might be a favourite Lego set. I found a Lego Yoda that I cut out that could get added in. I've got roller boots, some earphones, so thinking of things that we can cut in and then adding the colour. And there's my little Wonder Woman t-shirt there. Now when you've got your selection of objects, you're then going to carefully stick them into your suitcase. So at the minute we've got a Cocoa Pops wrapper. We don't necessarily want to see that because we're making it into a suitcase. So we're going to clear a bit of space, and you might be carefully sticking in your items and covering those up. So if you've done them on a sheet of paper, that will instantly cover up. And if you've got some more on that side, you can stick them onto that side, and we'll carefully cover up all the Cocoa Pops and start to make our suitcase look lots more like a real suitcase. And with the sweet wrapper, I might just have to flatten that down like that. It should look a little bit more like, look, there's mine coming along. So there's my boots, I've got my Mars bar, there's the coloured in moo cow, my pair of shorts. I shall add my Wonder Woman top to that. And I have my suitcase packed and ready to go. So this was the first task of our adventure. Now, hopefully you've paused it along the way and you've taken your time to have a go at collecting, oh, have I got magazines that I can cut up? Oh, have I got, what toys am I going to draw? And you've taken your time really thinking about the kind of things that you want to take on our adventure over the next however many sessions. Now, before now and our next session, I would like you to think about the kind of places, if you could go to in the world, where would you go to? So now this is a huge map and it's always changing, and this one comes from back to World War II. This map was done, so countries have changed since then, places are always changing. So your map doesn't have to, if you would like to think of a map of places you would like to go, it doesn't have to be realistic as such. You could imagine the kind of places that you would like to go in your mind. So remember the Just Imagine book. Where would you go to? Where would you like to explore? Where would you like to sleep? And maybe over the next few days you could be thinking, having a look at a map, but then using your imagination as well, thinking about the kind of places you would like to go on our adventure. So we have suitcase, we have passport, last thing a little luggage label just in case my suitcase gets lost on the journey. We might attach that with a bit of string. So if you've got any leftover cardboard, you could add that. And have a little bit of string or wool or anything like that. And there is my scrapbook suitcase ready to go. Now as you get ideas for your map or anything like that, you can draw your ideas of the places you'd like to go on here, and then we can slot them into our scrapbook sketchbook or suitcase sketchbook. And if later, I did have a hole punch, if you wanted to hole punch it so that you can keep it all very neatly together, that is always something we can do. But otherwise, I think just keeping all our ideas and our little designs and drawings from our adventures will go in here perfectly. So when you've finished it, put it in a safe place, ready for the next session. And I really look forward to seeing what we'll do in our next session as we begin our adventures. Lovely to be with you today. Have a good week. See you next time. Bye.